Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. Now we're going to be looking at if AI is going to be replacing our workflow for photographers and retouchers. And today's video is going to be sponsored by Voto, and I have been using them since April 2024. Now then, AI editing has come in the last few years and has now become more and more present in images, and a lot of photographers and retouchers are getting worried about what impact this is going to have. But we're going to go through it today. So we've just been editing this beauty shot of Hannah from a recent shoot, and this literally took me 2 minutes to edit. Now, before I was starting to use a photo, I would have been using Lightroom, which would have been batch editing for color correction, brightness, sharpness, all kind of any batch collective image retouching, and then going into Photoshop and then doing more refined retouching like dodge and burn, cloning and healing, frequency separation for skin retouching, and it used to take a lot longer. And I used to get a similar effect to this. But what we have actually found is I often get asked, oh my God, is AI going to take over my workflow? So this shot literally took me 2 minutes to edit. We can then apply that to all of our images. So what's already happened is when I used to do shoots, we used to take 200 photos and then pick out the best three or four and then edit them, and they used to probably take about an hour each, so that was 4 hours. I'm now able to edit 80 edit one and then apply that to 80 others using our presets up here. So I already think that AI editing is actually saving us a lot of time. And what that actually means is I can use that time to do another photo shoot, spend time with the family, do some more admin, or just concentrate on like other areas of my business than just editing. And of course, all of us photographers work late at night, so it might even mean some of us get an early night. So I think as well we need to start with what features is AI editing doing to help with our workflow. So first of all, we got culling. So this is where AI will pick out the images that they think are suitable based on their parameters they are given. So I've already done this just to test it. So we had 80 images and it took about a minute for it to pick them out, but we're going to do it again, and it is going to be quicker this time because it already knows what each image is in that catalogue. But what we need to be doing is, as this was a beauty shot, we did have a lot of Hannah's eyes closed to show the makeup, so we have got this turned off, and we just got everything else on like high just to show. We're just going to start that cull. Okay, and it's picked out 24 images for us, and these are the best ones. Now what we were finding doing this is AI culling is brilliant, absolutely brilliant for our workflow, because we could be shooting a wedding or something, or a commercial shoot, or a fashion and beauty shoot like this, and we could have hundreds if not thousands of photos, and it can whittle them down to the best 200, 400 or 10, 20, depending on what the shoot is. But what I have found personally is, as much as AI is brilliant for this, and you can see that that here, it doesn't always pick the ones I would want to edit. Okay, so it's picked out two. So those two I would have edited from when I edited these before this video. But there's a lot of others like that. I don't know why it would pick it, because what AI culling doesn't have is our creative vision, our creative thought. But what it is doing is it's looking at those parameters we have given it, and then taking those parameters, picking out the images that fit those parameters, and then going, this is what we pick. So I would say, yes, this is amazing. It is speeding up our workflow, but I don't think it is replacing it, because I think we still need to manually just go through just to check it is picking the right images out. But what would actually do is, I'm going to give another example, is if we had a client here doing a fashion shoot, they may want to just see a few final edits, or maybe a sneaky peek of the images to use on social media, or show another client or the model or whoever. And we could whittle them down to the best 100, let's say, or even best. Do not. Let's do best 10. Best 10. And that already gives you an indicator of what images might be good and what the client might actually look at. And when you redo it, you put the 100. You can then go through it. But when I used to do this in Lightroom, it used to take hours at a wedding, going through, selecting which images to take through. So if AI culling can just do that, then that is saving us a lot of time. We could be answering emails and things. So a lot of, I think, our workshop and AI is saving us time. But again, it depends what industry you are in. So it's picked out these, but it's also picked out. It's not selected any of the closed eye ones. So let's just pick them out. So it's not even picked any. But I know, because of the shoot we was doing, if we turn that off as well, oh sorry, turn that off as well, and we're going to do the whole lot. Okay, we had images that looked really good where there were closed eyes, and it's just going to find one for you here. Oh. There we go, here. Okay, and AI culling didn't even pick that, but that's a great beauty shot. So I think AI culling is great for just having a rough idea of what would look good, but I don't think you should be dependent on it. I think you should be looking at it as more of a guideline, because else it will miss images out like this. But what most AI editing is actually, when you used to go into Photoshop, you would spend hours doing frequency separation, cloning, healing, patching the skin up, especially in portraits. So if you were doing a landscape photographer, you might be tweaking skies or even replacing skies, doing composite images. And AI editing can do that way quicker too. So basically what that is actually doing, especially when we are tethered and we are shooting a client shoot, and we can put a preset on that is making our images 99% edited. Is the client could be looking at the images here, I'm shooting behind me, them. The client's seeing the images coming through. It may take just a couple of minutes for the edit to actually apply, but they're near enough seeing a final result immediately. They are seeing what the final product is near enough there, and then they can make any tweaks whilst we are there. We can go in and change some other sliders. So what we could do is they may go, or actually less contrast, and then the next, let's say 6 images along here, we can then sync that, apply it, or apply it to that tether. And then we can then see all those other adjustments happening here, and it's going to take just a couple of minutes. But imagine if you were spending hours editing. So if you were doing it the old way, you may have taken 400 photos and you've got to pick the best 10. And then instead of just going and doing what we just did, applying a preset of all that high-end editing we'd have done with these various sliders for skin retouching and everything else, you've got to spend all that time in Photoshop working in layers, building up images and different layers, liquefying everything else, when it can just do it very quickly here for you within minutes. So it is saving you a mass amount of time. Now, of course, it's still not going to get it perfect. AI is clever, but it's not got it perfect. So my theory on this is, I think as much as my manual editing and AI editing, I think they're going to have to go hand in hand. Like, we may pick this image and then actually find, or actually we'd want to do further adjustments that AI editing can't actually do. Like only just now, Avoto have been adding a healing, clone, and patch tool. Well, 6 months ago that wasn't there, and I was still using Photoshop for any final tweaks. So I would say they are going to go more, but hand in to hand than actually replacing our workflow. I think it will make it more efficient. I think if you're saving time culling, saving time editing, especially doing stuff that we do, such as fashion portraiture, it's going to save us a lot of time. I do feel that the standard of work also goes up as well, because I will be honest, I'm not the best Photoshop editor. I'm not a great editor. I spent hours doing it, trying to get it right, and I'm getting just as good results using sliders instead of brush tools and everything else to actually get those effects. So I feel my standard of work has actually gone up because these tools are making that job easier, and I can get the desired look I want quicker. So again, it's all about time, but also quality as well. And also going back to time in your work, if you've got a client and you're doing a shoot and then you're having to say it's going to be 2 weeks turnaround, but you have been applying that preset, and you can save them on. I've even got a Pacific Skin preset I apply to all my images, so there's a consistency throughout. You're actually turning around the client's work a lot quicker, which would mean you are going to have time to fit in another client, so earning even more money. Or you are able to edit more images to give to the client, so they're also happier for the value of money that they also paid. Now, where this may vary, because you do have to pay per edit on AI software at the moment, and this is January 2026. If I was doing a wedding where it's 5,000 photos and I'm condensing that down to 800 images, I may not want to spend that on credits, and I still may use manual editing because I'm not going to be doing a lot of skin retouching on every single image there. I may do some for the couple shots, but in terms of like candid photos or family groups, I don't think I will be heavily retouching skin like I have here. So manual editing will be a lot easier, I feel, in that industry, and that's a market that I'm also shooting in. So I use AI editing more for the high-end fashion beauty looks more than weddings. And I'm not saying weddings are not high-end, it's just they need different tools with the editing, I feel. So I wouldn't use Avoto for doing a wedding, but I would use it for skin retouching and for like high-end portraits and things like that. So I think as well for your workflow, if we're talking as photographers as a general, I think it is going to change it, but I don't think it's going to replace it just yet. I think retouchers are probably going to have a harder time because their job is going to become easier, but it's not going to be perfect yet. So there is still a job for them. And photographers, I think it's just going to make them more efficient. If you ask many photographers, they don't enjoy editing the whole time. You often hear photographers going, "Oh, I've got such a back catalogue." Well, you're using AI editing where it's already saving you time, increasing the quality of your work. You're going to enjoy it a lot more, and then you can go off and do another shoot. So I think it will then get better for everybody to then get into, because it's a lot easier to be moving sliders than trying to understand how to do frequency separation in layers, when you can just do it on a slider, which is just a bit further down. Where is it? Yeah, Dodge and burn frequency separation we can then bring up, and it's just done it in a matter of sliders instead of you trying to do it in layers in Photoshop. Now, I think as well, it's made our work easier, but it's also, with AI editing, you can go a bit too far. You can make people look, I call it the porcelain doll look, where we basically have where people who do not understand AI editing will put all of these sliders onto 100%, and your subject or model will be literally a porcelain doll. And then that doesn't really work very well, and it can easily then cause a stigma with AI editing because people go too far. And I think you need to dial it back and make sure that you are keeping a consistency. You are keeping your model subject looking real, and that they're also happy and comfortable too with the final images. So I often have a preset purposely for this. So if I ever do another shoot, I just apply this preset, and all that skin retouching is done immediately. So I'm saving hours at the moment. And of course, a lot of these programs do charge for their editing, but it is pence compared to hours you are spending editing manually. So I do feel there is a cost involved. There's a time and cost. They always say time is money, but I think you've got to work out what is going to be better for your business and what you are doing as a photographer. Now, I hope this has helped. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Voto, for sponsoring this video. Please leave your thoughts and comments below. It'd be great to have a discussion on this. Please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you all in the next video.